hopefully that will work. Great. I will start by asking you if you could just tell us your first name, even though we can see it here, and how long you've been volunteering for Mum for Mum.
My name's Andy, and I've been volunteering for a very long time. It must be at least 8 years. It could potentially be longer. I've had over 10 mums, so it's been a while.
Okay. And what initially drew you to Mum for Mum?
Well, my sister, who's a lot younger than me, suggested that I have she heard about it somewhere. I'm not quite sure how she heard about it. And I thought, oh, that sounds like me. And I contacted Nadine and we had coffee, and that was it. Started training and then started having mums.
And when you say that sounds like me, what does that mean?
Well, I was very lucky. I had a fantastic birthing, early mothering experience, but I did have twins and I had no family. So my parents were living in the States. My in-laws lived in the North, and there was a big age gap between mine and the next grandkids. And so it was really me. And I really love the concept of helping. I've always volunteered, and this was something that I just thought was going to fit my bill.
And you said you learned about Mum for Mum. Was it a friend or a relative?
My sister.
Your sister.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how she found out about it. But I don't even know if she had kids at that stage, but she must have had just very little kids. So.
Okay. And so it sounds like you had an experience, you said, as a mom of twins with not a lot of family around, that was kind of that challenging early mumhood experience, if I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah, look, I was really lucky. I really was lucky that I had these kids that slept well, ate well, did everything. My single that I had after was harder than my twins. But I think I learned so much by having to I say survive, that, Mum for Mum is all about not giving your experience, but my experience was something that I felt I wanted to help people who hadn't had the experience, because my experience could have been a total disaster. Easily have.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, easily have been a total disaster, but it wasn't. So.
And what did you know about Mum for Mum before you started volunteering?
Nothing. You
mentioned that you met Nadine for coffee. I'm just curious what you actually knew about it before. It sounds like you jumped in pretty quickly.
Yeah, nothing really. Nothing. I knew it was something to do with little babies, and that was pretty much all I knew.
Interesting. And so what was it that made you decide to commit even though you knew so little about it?
Nadine.
What about Nadine? I'm curious. She does have a very striking personality, and she's effervescent, but I'm curious to see what spell she put on you.
I don't know. It's I don't know. Don't post this, but it's almost like a cult. She is this cult leader. She has this incredible mix of empathy, sympathy, school teacher-y, understanding, all sort of wrapped up together, and you feel that the way she expresses herself is so fantastic, but it's done in a way that that there are. I knew that this was a serious organization, and I'm not interested in sort of faffy stuff. I like sort of hard edge stuff and things that are going to help society. I'm not interested in doing sort of silly stuff. This was something that was going to actually help somebody and then trigger that off to generations of help. And that to me sounds, because if you have a good experience, you are going to be a better mother, you're going to be a better grandmother, you're going to be a better supporter to your family. And those are the things that really resounded with me.
And so tell me a little bit about your experience. I know Nadine mentioned to me that you're an incredibly experienced volunteer, an incredibly articulate volunteer, and you've had really remarkable, you've done really remarkable work, but I don't know the specifics. So I'd love to hear a little bit about some of the volunteer experience that you've had.
Yeah, I've had some interesting mums. The mum I've got at the moment divulged something to me at the beginning of this year, and I will honestly go to my grave with it. It was so traumatic for her to tell me that I can deal with it, but I can't actually ever say what it was, because it was so traumatic for her to have to tell me that. I just feel even if I mentioned that in supervision, I would be giving her breaking that trust. So that's just something that I've had. So that, and then from that experience, having to deal with her new baby and her relationship and everything like that, now it's all pivoting on that one experience that happened to her and her partner a couple of years ago. And so trying to work through that with her, as well as being positive about the future, where potentially, and I see this with lots of my mums, that there may not be a future with the partner, but you still have to work through that, assuming that they're going to either be able to make it work, or we're going to have to deal with that sometime later in the year. I've had mums that Nadine have said to me many times, take this mum, but you won't have her for long. She's not going to be in the program for long. And at the end of the year, I've gone, I'm passing her on. I've had her for the year. So yeah, I've had mums with mental health issues, and mums who, as I said, have had sticky situations, mums who have had trauma. But yeah.
What about some of the, let's say, more heartwarming experiences? Have you had some volunteer experiences that just kind of make the hard ones worth it? You know, some things that work out really beautifully, and it brings you back again and again.
Well, I think what's interesting is that the hard ones are the ones that give you those experiences, because when they then turn a corner, I've had a mum twice, one mum for her first child and then for her second child. And Nadine initially said, I think you should go to a different mum. And I just thought that was not going to work, because then she would have had to relive everything that she had lived with me for that a second time. And just seeing the positivity and the hope and the resilience the second time round, compared to her really having struggles that first time round, was just amazing. And I had actually had coffee with her a couple of weeks ago, and seeing this strong, positive, resilient woman sitting across from me, one for a good year and part of the second baby, but for that first year, seeing this, I could see that she was a strong, hard woman, but seeing her just not being able to cope, and now seeing what's on the other side is just remarkable.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting, it's so amazing. And she was one of these cases that, especially for the second child, I didn't know if I was doing anything. And we talk about this all the time. You know, we sit and we listen and we observe and we make comments, but, you know, we don't get in there and try and solve problems. That's not what we do. And sometimes you go out and you go, I don't know, you know, I don't even know if I'm giving her anything. And then at the end, you get these lovely letters, or you get these responses or something, and you just go, okay, you know, the silence and just the sitting there listening to these things, whether they're good or bad, actually gives so much.
You said something interesting, and Nadine has described to me Mum for Mum's mission. She shared some information for me, but what you said, like, we're not there to solve problems. What do you when you go in and you're meeting a mum for the first time, or you're spending time with her, what do you see as your mission or your like service to give her, support to give her? What are you there to do in your own mind? How do you think about that?
Yeah, and the first couple are always the hardest, because you don't know. Like, you go in and the book is open and you honestly have no idea what you're going to be getting. I think my husband just popped his head in.
I guess so. So if you need to
No.
Okay.
You really don't know. You are, I mean, our brief is to support and to support the mother and to help her through and to delight in the baby, and you know, that's sort of the spiel. But actually, to discover what the mum actually needs from you and wants from you and how she's going, it's different with every mum. You know, some mums just want to cry on your shoulder. Some mums want to ask you a million questions, which you sort of have to deflect and ask, you know, get them to answer their own questions. Some mums want to bitch and whinge. Some, you know, and most mums are a collection of all of that, you know.
Yeah, that sounds like me, actually. So yeah. How many mums roughly have you volunteered with? Do you know?
Yeah. About 10, I think.
Okay.
Not all for that whole year, but you know, because some drop off, some you started later and all that sort of stuff. But I think there's been about 10 mums.
And do you have any mums? It sounds like you have some you might actually still keep in touch with, even though you're not like formally in the program together anymore.
Yes. So I have a mum who's now living in France, and we text each other occasionally. I have this mum that I've had twice, so for 2 years, and we see each other a couple of times a year for a coffee, and I just because there has been this bond that's formed between the two of us.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what about sort of for you personally? So we were just talking about like what you're giving to the moms, and it's all different things. Sometimes it's just a shoulder to cry on. Sometimes it's a listening ear. It can be all different things. What do you feel like you get out of the experience of this volunteer work with Mum for Mum?
I can't even tell you how much I've got out of this. I mean, for me, Mum for Mum is seriously life-changing. It is the most amazing organization for me as a friend, a wife, a mum. It has totally changed me and my relationship with everybody. So that's on a personal level.
Yeah.
And then on a level with the mums, I mean, the whole thing about Mum for Mum is that we sit in silence and we listen. And we never do that. I mean, especially a bunch of Jewish mums. I mean, you know what? You know?
Yeah.
That's right. You solve everyone's problem. Even if there's no problem to solve, you make a problem and you solve it. You know, that's what we do. And to have to learn to sit and listen to sometimes the most awkward things and not interrupt, not try and solve, not do anything, just listen is such, and it's something that I struggle with because, as you can tell, I talk a lot. But it's something that it's like that continuous learning process, trying to not open my mouth, trying just to sit and listen. Incredible. And I do that with my family now. You know, when my girls will have issues or something like that, I'll say, do a Mum for Mum. You know, just sit and listen. You know, it's almost a catch cry now in the family. You know, sit and listen. Just be with the person. Don't try and solve problems. Just be in the moment with that person. And we all use it now as sort of a tool in our armory, the Mum for Mum experience.
So you had mentioned that, you know, personally, the Mum for Mum volunteer experience had really changed your life. Is that what you were talking about? Like learning to do this sort of listening with other people in your own personal life?
Yeah. You know, you go out for coffee with a girlfriend and they've got some issue that they want to sort of vomit at you, you know, I'll just sit and I'll just listen to it, you know. And I think before I would have jumped in and you know, pulled it apart with them. And sometimes you can feel that someone just wants to be in that space with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I understood that beforehand. And I do it with my kids too. I try very hard to do it with my kids too. Sometimes I'll say to them, do you want me to help or am I just listening? And they'll go, just listen. Okay, I'm just listening. This is a Mum for Mum space.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. I'm thinking myself as you're talking, I'm like, I should be doing that same thing,
Yeah,
because I do have a tendency to want to solve the problems too, I think.
yeah,
Sometimes people just want to whine and have a chance to express themselves and vent.
that's right. And what I find is when I want that time, unless I speak to a friend who's in Mum for Mum, my friends try and solve my problems. And sometimes they're like, do Mum for Mum, so just to
Exactly.
just hear me out.
Exactly.
Don't answer.
Yeah, that's so interesting. What would you say is most challenging about being a Mum for Mom volunteer?
Not knowing what you're going to get and not knowing how you're going to respond. Because as I said, when that mum told me that news that she told me, I couldn't help but cry, because I don't think that anybody could have sat in that situation. Like, I didn't go in thinking I was going to be told. I knew there was obviously a bomb somewhere, but I didn't know what it was going to be, and I didn't know what my reaction was. But I just teared up and started to cry. It was so, these women are often carrying so much baggage. It just puts you back into the land of the living, really, because I'm a very, very blessed person. I have a spectacular husband, 3 amazing kids. Everything is good in my life, not perfect, but is good in my life. And just hearing what sometimes people go through, and it's just luck. It's not good management. It's just luck. And they're not in that position just for the bad, same type of luck. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it ever hard to leave it behind, like to walk out the door and not feel like you're carrying those burdens with you a little bit?
Absolutely. I had one mum once who I was running off to work. Came in, I said, I've only got an hour because I'm running off to work. And at about 50 minutes, she unloaded something which needed another hour. Like, it needed so much time. And I just looked at her and she was in tears. And I just said, honestly, I have to leave. And it was I had work to do. It wasn't like I was, it was another commitment that I told her when I came in. And unfortunately, we never got back to that place again. And it wasn't for me to say, oh, you remember last time you said blah, let's get back there, because the moment had gone. The moment had gone. And that was years ago, and their baggage becomes your baggage. It has to.
And yet it's still worth it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I think that the second if you have baggage that you can then tell somebody and put it into if your baggage is in your crypt, and you can then open your crypt and pass that on to somebody else and they can put it into their crypt, you have started the process of being able to work out how to solve your problem. It's the second you break up with your boyfriend and it's heartfelt, you tell your best girlfriend and you already start to feel a little bit better. Well, this is magnified. And the fact that that moment when they are feeling enough trust of me to tell me something. I mean, I'll give you an example of how amazing Mum for Mum is. I had a new mum. We'd only text messaged each other, so I'd never spoken to her on the phone. I turned up at her place and she texted me and she said, the front door's open. So I'd never seen this woman in my life. She said, my front door's open. I'm in my bedroom. I opened the door, went into her bedroom. She was lying on the bed, naked, except for a pair of undies, with the baby on her. And she said, he sleeps on me. I'm really sorry. I can't move. And I was like, my goodness, she trusts me, a total utter stranger, enough to be in the most vulnerable position she could possibly be in. And I just pulled a chair over and I just sat with her, quietly chatted while the baby slept on her. I mean, she must have had so much trust in Nadine and the program to let this total stranger into the house. See her like that. I mean, honestly, I've got goosebumps there remembering it.
Me too.
I mean,
yeah, how do you think Mum for Mom is different from other supports mums have? You're sort of you're sort of heading there already, but I'd love to just hear you articulate it.
yeah,
Some of these moms maybe have no supports, maybe they have other supports,
Yep.
but Mum for Mom is different, it seems. And what do they do that's different? What are
Well,
they
I think-
offering?
I think that there's a couple of things that we offer that's different. The first is that we go to the mum or meet the mum rather than the mum having to go. Like if you've got a psychologist appointment, you got to get to there. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're there for them the whole time. Now, that doesn't mean that we speak to them all week because we have very strict rules about that. But there is that much closer bond. Like a psychologist is sitting behind a desk. We are sitting on their couch or having coffee with them or going for a walk with them. And we are with them every single week for a year where we are. And that bond is so strong because it's not a medical bond. It's not a social worker. It's not a doctor. It's not a friend. It's not a sister. It's not, I mean, who knows what space we sit in. And every mum, we're in a different space. Like I'm in a different space with every mum. And I just think that familiarity that we have with our mums puts us into a different space from any other organization. And because we're not going out to solve and help, like if it was, a social worker, they might be going out and solving and helping. If it was a psychologist, they'd be trying to debrief, all these sorts of things. We're not any of that. And we're there with them, sitting with them and their baby every single week, if that's what I want.
You've already mentioned how volunteering with Mum for Mums changed the way you think about your own parenting in terms of the way you listen to your kids or let them speak to you. Is there anything else, or any other changes in your relationship with your children or within your own life that Mum for Mom has impacted? And if the answer is no, that's okay.
No. I think on a social level, I've made really good friends from Mum for Mum. And I think, and I think what's really great about Mum for Mum is that on the whole, it's not, you don't go because your friend goes. Like some of my friends have done it, but they haven't done it because of me. We've all done it at different times. And I think one of the amazing things on a volunteer level is that there's a commonality in us all, although we're not friends in a group, so we'll have a supervision and I might sit around. When I say not friends, I don't mean that. I mean that, you sit around and there might be 20 people there. Well, none of those people there are people I'm going to go out for dinner with. But I have a total respect and understanding and bond and I mean, in English, we don't have a word for friendship that I'm trying to think of, camaraderie. I don't know what it is, but this absolute bond with these people. And, I'll be walking around the shops and I'll go, hi to somebody. And so one of my kids will go, oh, is that a mum? I'll go, yeah, it's a mum. It's almost like we've got, a secret sign or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think I was just write down, I've done a lot of volunteering. I've been president of the PNC, which is the PTA, American equivalent. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've done that for a zillion years. But I think what's really great about Mum for Mum is most volunteering is hands-on. But I think what is amazing about Mum for Mum is it's hands off, in the sense that we're not, as I keep on saying, we're not solving problems. We're there, you know, we're not at a cake store. We're not at, you know, trying to, well, we are trying to raise money, but trying to raise money, you know, that sort of thing. We are, it's a totally different concept to most volunteering. And I think, you know, you see that with new mums, new volunteers all the time. They'll come in and they'll say, and I tried to tell the person blah, blah, blah. And all of us oldies will go, you know, you'll learn that soon. That's not what we do. But no, it's something that I am totally, utterly and completely passionate about.
I could tell.
Yeah. Because, well, first of all, I wouldn't have been doing it for so long, but you look at these mums and you see where they go. And not just my mums, you know, you have supervision and there'll be 20 people telling you that they have saved 20 mums. And if you know, you say that's, I don't know how many volunteers we have now, but if that's say 100 mums that are being saved over a year, I mean, whew,
tremendous.
And we're just mums, you know. I'm a musician, you know. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. I'm you know.
Yeah, and do you think in a way that almost is better? Like you're sort of uniquely equipped as mums who are not psychologists to kind of be this impartial helper to all these mums?
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of the volunteers are psychologists and in that sort of health workforce. It would be interesting to work, to speak to them, to see how they have to change what they do. Because they're not, I know what it is. We don't diagnose. If you're a medico of any description, you're diagnosing. I can't diagnose. I can say, oh, well, I think she has depression and it seems that she's got this and it looks like she might have that and all that sort of stuff. But I'm not equipped to diagnose. I can say to Nadine, I think that this might be where she's going. But I can't give a definitive. And I've just noticed that we've got a very inappropriate book in the background. I'm sorry.
Oh, I can't see it.
Oh,
I don't
good.
think
I should probably see that.
I don't think I can see it. Yeah.
Oh, good. No. It's a book about Nazism.
Oh, no, I can't. It's too small or you're blocking it. So that's good. Let's see. Okay. So is there anything you would change or add to the Mum to Mum program or about the Mum to Mum program based on all this experience you've had, or any, you know, thinking to the future? It doesn't mean that there's something wrong, but thinking to the future, is there anything you would like to see added to the program or changed about the program as it moves forward and it grows? It's my understanding it's really growing a lot too.
Yeah. And that's a really interesting thing. The growth is a really interesting thing. And I think some of us older mums are, there's definitely been a change, because in the old days when there were just a few of us, we would all sit around at supervision and we'd all hi, and we'd all know each other. And even if not everybody was there would be that. Now you go to supervision and you go, whoa, there's nobody here I know. Like where are all these new mums coming from, you know, which is fabulous, you know, exponentially make this, you know, crusade. This is the best thing you could possibly do. Fantastic. But I think Nadine spends a lot of time trying to keep the close-knit concept of Mum for Mum and trying to widen it at the same time. And that's really hard. I think that is a really hard brief. When you've got something that's successful as a small entity and you go, well, this has to be a big entity, to keep that warmth and that feeling of family when it then now becomes big is tricky. It's tricky. And I think that she is forever trying to devise and think of ways to keep it Mum for Mum, even though it's becoming you know.
Many mums for many mums.
Many mums for many mums, that's exactly right.
And is supervision, is that like a meeting of the volunteers? Is that what that is?
Yeah. So what we have, so pre-COVID, so let's go the world of pre-COVID, every 2 weeks, we would meet together and discuss issues, discuss problems, nut things out, basically. So, I come in with a problem, my mum's done blah, I don't know how to handle it. It's all totally confidential, no mum's names, no baby's names mentioned. And then we basically have a powwow trying to think of ways of solving, well, either solving problems, or I just might go, my mum's great. There's nothing to say. She's doing really well. Bub's great. Let's move on. So, and that's great on both two counts, because first of all, it means that I feel comfortable enough with my cohort that I can articulate and tell people what I'm going through and then what they're going through. And for the more experienced mums, that's great because I get information from experienced mums who might be able to help, and obviously Nadine and sort of those guys. But for a new mum, it shows a new mum what we're dealing with and how to deal with it, and also shows a new mum the camaraderie between us and the fact that we are all there to help each other. So it's such a, it's this perfect society, mum. It really is this perfect society.
And now is that all done remotely? Are you all meeting via Zoom or something to have those same types of discussions?
Yes. So over Zoom, we did it over Zoom for the last couple of years. The first lockdown, I was there every week. I have to admit that second Zoomings last year, I've been very slack. But first of all, my work every time Nadine has tried to have something, my work's just been in at that time. So it's just been a bit of a poo. But I've also been doing it for a very long time. And I know if there's an issue, there's a bunch of people I can just go, what do you think? So.
Sure. Yeah. And I was just curious. No judgment from me on the amount of time you spend on Zoom. So I was just curious how it works now. And if it's moving back toward being in person, maybe.
We're trying. I mean, I think Nadine is really trying to. I just think, just get back. Let's just do it like we've always done it. I just think that we need to do that. But I also understand that there are people out there who aren't feeling quite as relaxed about it all now as me. So, and Nadine has to again tackle that. Those people who are still want to wear masks, and those people who want to hug. It's
many variables to manage.
Yeah. And I don't know what your world is like at the moment, but I went to a concert last night, and half the people were wearing masks and half the people weren't, and half the people were moving away because somebody wasn't wearing a mask, and the other half were hugging.
It's exactly the same here. And we've all had COVID at different times in my house, no matter how hard we've tried to be careful. So it's a very difficult to navigate. I don't think anyone knows what the right recipe is, really.
No.
Well, if you were in charge of getting the word out to more parents about Mum for Mum, although it sounds like the word is getting out, but let's say you were in charge, if the goal was to reach as many parents and mums who needed support in the Sydney area and beyond as possible, do you think you would do something different or in addition to what is being done today?
I don't know, different, but I was thinking about that when I read your question. I think that, and maybe Nadine's doing this, so I don't know. But I think that there almost needs to be a committee of volunteers whose job it is to get the word out. Like we have in Sydney baby health clinics where you can take the baby, your new baby, to a nurse and she will weigh it and all the rest. Maybe we should have a couple of not seminars, but a couple of mums should go there at a time and sit around with these new mums, almost like evangelicals, sitting around and, for that 2 hours when mums are coming in and out and going, are you okay? This is our program. Do you think you might need our program? Here's a pamphlet. I'm a mum. Is this something you're interested in? Something like that might be good, because most of our referrals at the moment are either medical. I mean, I'm sure there's medical or the parent themselves or friends, or they come in some like that. But if you have so many mums who you'll get halfway through and the kid will be 6 months and so have gone through all that disaster. And then you'll get the mum when the baby's at 6 months and they'll go, I wish I knew you when my baby was born, because then I might not have needed you at 6 months. So I just think if we maybe got right at the source, that might be helpful. Or even, sorry, thinking loud,
please.
Antenatal classes. Going to an antenatal class and saying, you haven't had the baby, everything's looking great now. But if you are in that space where you think you may need some help, that you are it's not working for you, here's my flyer. Don't forget it. Stick it on your fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that sort of thing, might.
That's a great idea. Yeah. And people have it in their minds even before the need arises.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And then I suppose we then need to work out what our brief is. Is our brief women in serious need or just women in need? And I suppose then that's the issue, because do you like, oh yeah, I'm having trouble, my baby's not sleeping, whatever, and I don't get on with my mum, and my mother-in-law's a cow. Is that is that enough to warrant a mum when you have somebody who is isolated and maybe in an abusive situation or whatever? We need to look after that mum more than we need to just look after a mum who's having a hard time, because let's face it, we all have a hard time to start with.
In the beginning, it is very hard.
Yeah.
It really is. If you were going to sum up the experience of volunteering with Mum for Mom in, a few words or a phrase, how do you think you might sum it up?
Life-changing. And I think life-changing all over. It's life-changing for the mum. It's life-changing for the volunteer. It's life-changing for the extended family of the mum, and it's life-changing for the extended family of the volunteer, because that mum is going to potentially be a better mum because of the support Mum for Mum gives. And we, hopefully, are going to learn from our experience and be better mums, and then grandmas and whatever afterwards. So, yeah. So,
and is there any?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Life-changing is just it.
You can't ask for more.
Yeah.
Anything else that you'd like to share that you think is worth sort of just noting about the experience of being such an integral part of Mum for Mum?
No, but what is interesting is that when I first started, so it was a long time ago, and I'd say, I spend a year, I volunteer, spend a year looking after a mum and a mum in need and their baby for the first year of their life. Like 10 years ago, people go, huh? Now people go, oh, I think I've heard of that program, or isn't that amazing? So there has definitely been a shift in attitude, especially of men. I mean, I've had a friend ring up who is a partner in a huge firm, and he said, that bizarre program you do, I think one of my staff needs it.
Wow.
Yeah. He said, what do you do? I think one of my staff needs it. And so I told him, I spoke to the woman, I told the woman to speak to Nadine, and I said, I'm not going to do it because there's too much, that's not right.
Sure.
And then she got a volunteer and it was all good. Or better.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's
wonderful.
Yeah, it's definitely getting there. It's something I'm I'm pretty passionate about.
I can tell. I can't thank you enough for taking the time and for putting up with my first few minutes of technical difficulties
don't be
and for
silly.
answering all my questions. So thank you so much, Andy. It's been a pleasure to chat with you. I've recorded this so Nadine can see it. And then if there's anything else you think of that you think we missed, let me know. But you could shoot me an email and we can hop back on a call if you'd like to. But I really appreciate the time.
Fantastic. No, I'm sure what I've missed, somebody else will definitely add to. So no, that's all good. Well, thank you. Lovely meeting you, Amy.
Yes, it was so nice to meet you too. And
Am
I hope you have a wonderful. You're the first.
Oh, yay!
Yes, very exciting. We're breaking new ground. So thank you, and thank you for being so open. It couldn't have been easier on my end. So thank you.
Good. Well, it's a pretty easy topic for me.
Great, wonderful. Have a great evening and a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. See you later.
Good day. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.